Welcome back to another episode of Wild Authentic Leadership. What does it truly mean to be a leader? Not just in business, but also in life. Today's guest, Martin, believes that leadership is about more than just strategy and success. It's about stepping into your most alive and authentic self while creating real impact in the world. Martin is a business mentor, entrepreneur, and regenerative coach who has delivered over 600 hours of mentorship to CEOs, founders, and top performers. He's raised over 10 million for nature restoration, co-founded 4 startups, and worked with venture capital, climate finance, and global brands like Red Bull and Google. But beyond the business success, he's also a father, a husband, and an adventurer, deeply committed to helping people realize how great they truly are. In this episode, we're going to dive right into what it really means to be a leader in life beyond just business success. And we're also going to talk about how to integrate purpose-driven entrepreneurship with fatherhood and family. If you're ready to rethink leadership from the inside out, this conversation is for you. Let's dive right in. So Martin, welcome in the studio. And can you tell us a little bit more what it means to you to be your most authentic and alive self?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, thank you for the invitation. Thank you for having me here. Thank you for the question. That's such a great question, and I'm not sure I can try to give an answer, but I think that sitting with that question, if listeners, I mean, including myself, as I walk away from here, just continuously looking and thinking about that, I think maybe that's an access to live our full authentic self, bring leadership in our lives. It's to kind of acknowledge that the whole world is changing always. That's the only thing that stays unchanged. And embracing that, but in every aspect of life, and if we can bring our vulnerable self, this self that can be with that, I have no control perhaps. Well, I can control myself over here, but my kid is going to probably throw a tantrum at some point, Like if we can bring ourselves into those moments and align ourselves with who we really are, whoever that is, which is another conversation, then I think that's an access. So letting ourselves not know, perhaps, letting ourselves be vulnerable.
Yeah, I love that answer. It's indeed about can we show our truth in every moment? Can we be close to ourselves? And that means being vulnerable and just handling messy situations and contexts and just trying to show up as we are in our truth. So thank you so much for that answer. You already brought in the kids right away, so I'm going to go there right now. What do you feel that is the overlapping thing between fatherhood or parenthood and entrepreneurship or leadership even?
Yeah, I think that's a good conversation. I think the whole world is kind of unlearning perhaps this old idea of that leadership is telling people how things needs to be, knowing the way. And at least the circles or a lot of the conversations that I'm engaging in recently, it's embracing this idea that perhaps leadership is something else. Maybe leadership is not knowing. Maybe leadership is being a space where everyone can step into and bring their full potential. And if I can lead a company like that, wow, it gives me goosebumps to think about. If everyone can bring their true self, because we are, as human beings, I believe we are a bit like nature. We are a bit like an ecosystem in nature where we need the nitrogen fixers. We need the pioneer species. We also need the slowly growing oak that kind of that needs the shade from all the other pioneering species to establish itself and to continue sort of the natural succession of ecosystems. And similarly in family, it's kind of the same. If I can I don't think I'm going to have a lot of success as a father telling my kids how they need to be, you know?
Yeah.
I don't think no one likes to be told that. But if I can be a place where they really can be themselves, you know? And I think that is just a continuous path for learning, because they're also never standing still, right? Like mine is 6 and 9, and they're kind of learning their individuality now, and that's totally shakes me, you know, like as a person and as a leader in this kind of definition.
So probably it comes back to unlearning what we used to do in leadership and unlearning the typical way of parenthood and trying to be okay with, like, I don't have all the next steps, but I'm going to try to show up as my true self, try to be better every day, and start, like, we don't always see the full picture, but we try to, like, be our most authentic self and become the leader, the most authentic leader that we can have for our company, but also for our family.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. You managed, like, you mentored so many high achieving people and CEOs. Is there like one core pattern that you see that holds people back from really being their authentic self?
I wish I could say yes. The honest answer is probably no. But there is something that I think that enables me to be the space for people where they can show up. And that's kind of continuously taking myself out of the way. And what I mean by that is all my own personal traumas and stuff like that. That's what's going to get in my way of really saying what will make a difference over there with that person I'm sitting with. I had a lady who I was coaching, and I've been working with her for probably hundreds of hours, and I got to a point where I was just like I couldn't make a difference with her, and I just went into her and I said, look, I don't know what you want from me. I am here. I am hired. My job is to make you successful. And I just can't. I can't. I did everything. I did this. I did that. I can't. I don't know what to do. I feel like walking away. I feel like throwing the towel in the ring. And honestly, I have no idea what to do with you. And that was what she needed to hear. She had been using a strategy for keeping people at distance. And that was her way to not letting herself be fully vulnerable, not really dealing with herself. And me saying that in the way that I said it, I think because maybe I said it in a way where it was really unattached, you know, like it wasn't reactive, and she started to see, oh, wait a minute, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing everywhere with everyone. I'm keeping them at distance, or I'm pushing them away the moment I need to really commit for something. And that's my strategy. And she saw that playing out in my relationship with her. And she had a mega breakthrough. And I'm just...
Wow.
It moves me to think about.
It's beautiful. And it's literally like getting out of the way and like letting the pattern unfold. And then all of a sudden, you cannot unsee it anymore, I guess. Like for her, it's like... Once you see it, you cannot unsee it anymore. And it's the time that everything starts to shift. Yeah. So thank you. It's beautiful. Yeah, beautiful point to get to that. It's like after hours and hours of working with someone, and then just being honest, like this is not going where it should be going, and being able to deal and say that out loud and address it in a very honest way, and then having the breakthrough because of that.
Yeah. Yeah. And it came from your question of like, oh, is there one thing that is the pattern, one thing that continuously work? Yeah, I mean, I think if we knew, probably it would be easy, right? And yeah, it is kind of a path that's paved with challenges and whatnot, right? Is
there like a sort of, like you said, like you worked with her for 100 hours or more, and like the things that you do as a systematic approach, like I read through it, and it's a bit different that I saw with other business mentors. Can you dive a little bit deeper in the strategies you use, and where you see also like great results with, like for leaders, for CEOs to really tap into that authentic leadership?
Yeah, that's such a good question. I think, like, first of all, it's important that we sign up for the journey. Sometimes we say we do, but we don't, you know? Like, oh, yeah, I'm here, I'm here to get your help. But really, sometimes that's our strategy for not really letting people get close to us and really making ourselves vulnerable. So there's a really crucial point in the beginning of the journey, and sometimes it happens like, 10 hours in or something, where you're like, where you get confronted with that. Oh, wait a minute, I've never actually been in. I've always been having a foot in the door, ready to leave. I know that was one of my strategies. Oops. And I think that's that's a good way to protect ourselves, and it's a useful strategy also. And at some point, we just kind of reach different glass ceilings for what we can achieve. So kind of like making sure that we ourselves, as we seek to expand ourselves as leaders, making sure, are we really in for this? Am I really in for letting go of knowing all the answers and having other people shine? Am I really, if we say that's what it is, am I really in for that? That means perhaps I'm not going to be the one shining? Okay. There's some, sometimes some looking over here with ourselves that we got to do.
Yeah, exactly. And I love the description once again. So thank you for that. We already talked a little bit about those powerful shifts, stepping away, but also, I read something that you use a bit of role play as a technique. Is that also can you explain a little bit more how you do that, or why it works so well with people and to overcome those blockages?
Yeah, I think do you watch any sports?
I watch Formula One.
Formula One. Okay.
It's probably hard to relate.
Well, you might, because sometimes it's easy to kind of sit in the stand and watching the Formula One cars going, and you'd be like, what are you doing? You should have gone left, not right. Or you can hear I'm not super advanced with Formula One, right? But there would be some points where you, as a spectator, would have opinions, and if you notice the type of language that you engage in, the way you're thinking, the way the world occurs for you, in a way you could say, is as a spectator describing things. The moment you move yourselves from the stands onto the court, it's a different type of language. It is what you use invitations, requests, declarations. And it's action language. It's like, pass me the ball. You don't you don't describe things. Oh, look at the man, he's running with the ball, blah, blah, blah. You don't use any of that type of language. Yeah. And so once it is you move into type of role-playing, mocking, stuff like that, it's where you really put yourself on the court. And suddenly you will notice also, as you're talking about that subject, or now not talking about it anymore, but you're living it, you start to see what comes up in you as you're on the court, so to say, is many times quite similar to what you actually experience on the real court once you go there. Yeah. And I think that's really powerful. And it's and then there's lots of other ideas, but I think this is like one of the main ones.
Yeah. Would you mind to share a situation or where you did this role play with someone that you mentored, and where you could really see the breakthrough moment in their eyes? A little bit like you explained with the woman that you coached for so many hours, and then that one thing that just all of a sudden it shifts.
Yeah. Good question. I mean, we could try it out here, even if you want to. If you have something you want to bring up, I mean, maybe there's something that you're working on at the moment, and you feel like you want to take that up to the next level. We can just kind of try to play it out if you want.
I have to think a little bit. How is it? A specific small step? Is it how do you?
Yeah, well, it could be a situation. It could be I think making it really close and personal oftentimes helps. So, for example, with me and my dad, for example, I feel like with my dad, I've been kind of okay with our relationship. I've been resigned about it, really, but I've been okay with it. I really want us to be closer than what we were and what we are, and like I still want that to expand. And then what? So I could give the example of what actually happened, and we can talk it through as it is kind of happening real life. That would kind of maybe give a little bit the idea, and it will probably shake me up and get me all on the court. Or we can describe it, but I think it's nicer. This is just one example that I can give.
Yeah.
And what happens with me is, my dad would say things like, he would be like, "Oh well, Martin. Anyways, you never you're always so extreme in your opinions. You were vegan. You were all these blah 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 things. So you're always so extreme." And at some point, I just been kind of letting that go. But now I was in the car and I was driving with my dad, and I was like, "But dad, what do you mean? What do you mean extreme?" He's like, "Yeah, like you've been vegan for so long, and you try to make everyone vegan then, and you think this is the best thing, and it's just like, like you're so crazy sometimes." Yeah. And I'm like, "Dad, I haven't been vegan for like 2 years. What are you talking about?" And I feel like it's kind of it's even hard for me to kind of like recall it here. But what starts to happen then is, I think actually this is a bad example, to be honest.
But I think I get it. Yeah. And the reason why I said like I watch Formula One, is because it's one of the only things that makes me feel close to my dad. My dad was a racer. I literally grew up next to the track. Every few weekends, we would, like, as a family, it would be one of the only things when I was little that we would do as a family, to go see my dad race motorbikes. Yeah. And still today, it's one of the only moments and easy, non-business related things that we can comfortably talk about. And I think that's still the reason why I love Formula One. It's very against a lot of my beliefs, but it's the thing that connects me to him.
Yeah.
And not having that relationship where we're comfortable to talk about emotions, or where we, like, as a child, like, my parents were growing the business like hardcore. When I was little, there was just not that much time. So those precious moments when he, like, also needed those breaks from work and they were going racing and so on, like, I care a lot about those things. Yet there is a part of me that, of course, that enables like a sort of like, it's not really neglect, but like, emotional unavailability is like a pattern that I'm trying to overcome in my personal life and so on. But it starts to reflect in so much more. And if I now look at the recent months, I started Fire Circles a couple of months ago. You were there as well. The moment I made that switch, the moment I was like, okay, this is what I'm meant to be doing with my life, the moment I really chose myself, my whole personal life, this whole pattern that was screwing me over for years, this emotional unavailability, and also how I attracted into my life, it also changed. And all of a sudden I find myself in a private romantic relationship, or like, it's not a relationship yet, we're dating, but like, it's with this extreme emotional available, man. Like, it's in the moment you start to like, okay, this is the pattern that's happening, this is what is going on in my life. But I make the decision for my business and stepping into purpose. All of a sudden, all those different aspects in life start to change as well.
I'm so excited for you. That is
a
big deal.
It's a big deal. And
that's
it's
awesome.
Learning to receive support and not doing everything alone, which was a little bit the story of my whole life. Like, and consciously, I constantly create patterns and situations where, you see, I have to do everything alone.
Yeah.
Like, I constantly create that for myself, constantly. And now it's also learning, like, Fire Circles, like, it's meant to be a tribe. It's meant to be people coming together. It's meant for all of us to grow and to learn, and allowing people to help me, and receiving that is super powerful. But yeah, that's why the Formula One, like circling to my dad and so on, but this is what's happening. And I feel like it's changing me so much on a fundamental part of who I am as a leader as well.
There's some integration happening there. I feel like it sounds like with your life, like, you have your romantic life coming in, and suddenly it's all in the same solar system, on the same. Yeah, that's really interesting. Wow, congrats! That is really
it's a lot of change all of a sudden, but it's beautiful. So yeah, that's a super private part, but okay.
But you know what you just said. Yeah. When you started to talk about that, you had me lean in, and it was like there was a different quality in the conversation we're having right here. And you were just, and I don't know if you're going to go out and cut it out afterwards, so maybe you will, or maybe you will not. But it was really beautiful, and it was really relatable. And I was like, wow, now we're here. Wow.
Yeah.
You were bringing the authentic leadership right here. It was beautiful. Thank you.
But yeah, that's the reason why the Formula One is my thing. So, thank you so much. So.
It could be interesting to also, or maybe did you try to unpack that or unfold that further? Like, I'm just sitting with like, okay, so it's the Formula One thing. That's what brought you closer with your dad. So now it holds this sort of symbolic value for you. Personally, I'm working on my diet at the moment, and sometimes when I'm about to stick my fork into some food and put it in my mouth, I'm asking myself, well, what do I really want? Am I actually really hungry here? Because I have a tendency sometimes to eat too much. Finish up the plate, Martin. Otherwise, you can't go, or otherwise you're not leaving the table, Maybe other people have heard similar words growing up. And I realized that eating up, finishing my plate, that's a replacement for feeling loved by my dad or by my parents. So I started to take these patterns, and maybe there is something like, it sounds like the Formula One now represents that for you, but maybe that could be an access for you also to kind of like expand your experience of love, like in all, maybe, I don't know, maybe you're already looking at this, but it was just kind of like
it's
made me
beautiful.
think.
I'm gonna sit with that, but it's beautiful. Like every small action that we take, when we start asking ourselves, like, is this really what we want? Why do we want this? There are so many things that we do unconsciously because of childhood, and I can imagine as a father, you being so extremely aware about those things. When you raise your kids, like, your brain probably goes in a hundred different things that you think about, like how is this going to impact the person they become. So that's also like, it's a really intense form of leadership, like when you take that responsibility as a parent to really, okay, everything I say and do is an example to them and it's going to impact their life. Can you take us a little bit behind the scenes of how that feels in your brain, but also how you see it playing out with your kids? And
that's a good question. And like our kids, they do what we do. They don't do what we tell them to, unfortunately. And I mean, that's a cliche saying, right? But I think it's really true. And I think it's really true for leadership as well. And it's like, I want to have a relationship with my children where they're going to come and share with me what they're dealing with, the deepest struggles and challenges. And my son, yesterday, he's 6, right? And he came to me and he said, Dad, I told this girl that I love her. Like real love, Dad. And I was like, wow. And I was so honored and I was so moved by him sharing this with me because he never shared anything like that before. He tends to be the kind of guy that comes home and I'm like, hey, how was school? Good. What did you do? Nothing, And he was sharing this with me. And I think that was sort of like coming out of, like, I've really been taking myself on also to share with him, like the day before, I think, like I was saying, like, no, I'm really sorry. I've really noticed how I haven't been present with you. You asked me to come and play with you, and then I said I needed to go do the dishes, and then I'll come. And then I went and I did the dishes, and then I started to do some work out in the garage, and then I just needed to prepare a little bit of food, and then I came to you, and then it was too late, and you went to bed. And he was like, "Yeah, Dad," and it makes me really sad. And I was like, and sometimes I cry with him, and I'm like, wow, I'm really sorry about that, like that was not my intention at all, and I'm gonna do better, I promise you. And I'm trying my best to do better every day with being present there for my kids and leading with my actions, not my words and intentions, because I think, that's the path to hell, no?
Yeah,
as we say.
And then immediately after, you get him opening up so purely to you as a result, which is beautiful. And can you give us a little bit more of those kind of situations where you really stepped into another level of leadership for yourself as a father?
I mean, I want to share the example. Something happened yesterday, and I think that's also perhaps a question of, like, I think continuously not knowing what leadership is. I think that's interesting, and we can argue whether or not this is leadership. But I feel like sharing this. Yesterday, I was with my my wife put my son to bed, or our son to bed, and my daughter was there, and we finished eating, and we sat in the couch, and I was like, "Can you?" Earlier, I'd been telling her, like, "Oh, I'd love to hear what you're journaling about." She's 9, and she's writing diary, right? And we lay in the couch, and she said, or I asked, "Can I? So what are you writing in your diary?" And she was like, "Oh, I can go and get it. Do you want me to go and get it?" And then she went from the couch, and I was kind of tired. It was at the end of a long day. I think we were all tired, but she got up, She walked all the way over to the stairs, walked all the way up the stairs, climbed up the ladder to her bed, picked the diary. She came down, and I was just lying there on the couch, and I was like, wow, like pinch me, like I'm a father where my daughter, she just offered to, like, normally sometimes she wouldn't even want to go and put her plate over, after eating. But now I'm a father where my daughter goes up, she picks up her diary, she comes back, and she starts reading from it to me, sharing some of the deepest thoughts that she has, and I'm just like, I'm just lying there on the couch with her. She's reading, and we're reading together, and I'm just like, wow, this is just unreal, this moment. Like, I'm so joyful, I'm so grateful for this moment. Like, my daughter's reading this to me, and then after we were just spent like half an hour, probably, not half an hour, maybe 15 minutes, drawing emojis in her book. She asked me what's my favorite emoji, and I drew one, and she drew another one, and then we took turns on drawing emojis. And it's just, it doesn't really matter so much about what it is, but I felt what was really special there was, like, just being present with people, and that I can be present like that for maybe one of the persons in the world who's the most important to me, my daughter. That just really moves me. And I noticed that I've been holding myself back in the past from letting myself experience moments of joy, almost like, no, I can't rest and relax and enjoy this because I'm not good enough. So I gotta go and do all these things. So, and there was hundreds of things that was left to do, right, in life, as there always is. But we took this moment, and it was just like, for me, that was definitely like a big step into like a new expansion of what I would, I don't know if I would call it leadership. We can call it leadership. But it was definitely more the kind of person I want to be in life,
Yeah. And you said, like, you want your kids in the future as adults and later on to be able to come to you with whatever is on their mind, whatever they feel. And I think both the examples that you shared right now over the last couple of days already prove that you became that kind of father to them, and they have that kind of relationship with you early on. So yeah, that's already a full circle moment there, right?
Yeah, I think I can definitely be proud of that. And it's also to say that I'm not perfect and I haven't arrived at the Dad of the Year destination either.
Does anyone basically?
No, I don't think anyone ever will get there.
Yeah.
And also to draw parallels into work life, right? Like if we can be that kind of, if we can have that kind of intimacy and that kind of relationship with our team, you know, imagine they will share with us their deepest difficulties in the job or in the deliverable, and wow, you can just support them, or we can just support them. We can just lift each other, hold each other. We're never alone. Imagine what kind of people will be attracted, stay with you, grow with you as a company. What kind of effort they're going to put in. Like, I mean, like, you know, I think that's really like kind of the next level of business, you know?
Yeah. And as you say, like being so present, being so open, also in a very high impactful environment, working with so many big, high achieving leaders and entrepreneurs. Can imagine there is everyone that walks into the office or whatever meeting, as you said, like also as a dad, like there are 100 things on your to-do list. How do you get them to be really present there? And how for yourself, like how do you try to navigate this? Like you make that decision to really sit with your daughter, to like draw emojis, to make like to have that moment. But I guess for many people, it's just the days go by very quick and there's 100 things on the to-do list. And how do you check in with yourself? Am I really present? Am I really in this moment? Am I really, either it's professionally or it's private, but like what are like little things how people can remind themselves to check in?
Yeah, I physically have in my calendar every Friday for an hour. I look back and I have, it's a moment of reflection of the week. And I say, did I do what I said I would do? So I look at all my calendar events. Did I deliver and output what I said I would? Is there someone who I have not been in communication with? And it's not I have to write elaborate answers. Sometimes the answer is, I will look at this later. Or, you know, I received your message, haven't read it yet fully, but, you know, have I been out of communication somewhere? Have I been present with my children? Have I honored my routines? So I have these 4 things that I check in with myself on every Friday, and I think that's really important. It's really important for me because if I don't, then you know, like sometimes we get into these negative spirals. Oh, I play piano, right?
Yeah.
So, I didn't practice piano this week. I guess it's fine, like, you know, and then it will just go worse and worse and worse, and then I'll stop. But if I really am committed to it, then I gotta just look myself in the mirror and be like, okay, cool, I didn't play piano this week. Am I still committed to it? Am I still gonna continue or not? And then, you know, I can recreate it. So I think that's important that we as human beings can count on our own word to ourselves,
exactly,
which is I think really a foundational quality to have a great life. So that's something I do every Friday. So that's one tip. And then different practices. Like I'm always in progress. Let's say. Maybe as all of us are. And I think the more we can just be okay with that, the more we can just start having fun with it, you know. And like one of the things that I'm working on right now is letting myself experience the joy and gratitude in moments, because I felt like I've been running away from it. And this is with the help from a guy called Charles Eisenstein, who's amazing. And yeah, so I have that practice, and then I journal every morning. That helps support me. I keep asking these questions for myself. So just kind of this, and I think like just try something, design whatever procedures or whatever things that we need, and then maybe it works, maybe it doesn't for us. Cool, stop it, create something new, you know?
Yeah. Oh, you touched upon 2 things. Like, first of all, like the part of allowing yourself to feel joy. you mentioned that before.
Such a big deal. Yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
So I want to circle back to that. But like, as you said, like the journaling, the checking in with yourself, like being in integrity and being true to yourself and like keeping your word to yourself is a super important part for you to be able to be present at home and professionally. Yet I think you're not that kind of like, it's not that way I want to say it, but like I think one of the easiest tools to be more present is just put the fucking phone away.
Good tip.
Like,
Yeah.
as a parent, as a leader, as an employee, as a colleague, as a friend, as a mom, like it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Just put the phone away.
Yeah, totally.
And I notice, like, even in a conversation like this, like there is, like the moment there is a screen, like your full attention, it's hard to be focused. And just a very easy way to be fully there, put the screen away.
Yeah.
It's not that hard.
Yeah. Totally. Totally. I could echo that. Yeah.
Yeah. Are there like more like easy, small things that we could do that make us way more present with one another?
I think typically, I think forcing it actually sometimes can be. Sometimes can.
This one because it's
Yeah.
off anyhow.
Talking about screens.
Yeah, close the screen.
I think forcing it, or trying to be more present, sometimes may work, sometimes may not. I find that what's easier is to figure out what it is that why it is that we're not, and taking those things out of the way. So, and the same thing, if you try to eat more healthy, I find that it's like a way we force ourselves. You know, we used to be able to rely on our body telling us what we needed. Oh, I need fruit right now. I need veggie. I need this. I need that, and we would eat it naturally, right? But then what happened in between was tons of trauma, and now Martin, he is a good boy if he eats up. And he experiences love when he eats sweets because that was his reward growing up. And now suddenly I have all these things. It's not reality. It's stories. It's like connections in my head. So when it is that I'm eating, there's no freedom in my eating because I'm dealing with all these things. And I can try to educate myself to eat better and more healthy. And if I don't understand these invisible patterns in my blind spot that keeps like impacting my eating habits, it's really hard work. Yeah. I might be able to be successful with it, but it might be pretty high maintenance. So what I've become increasingly interested in is like, how do I make this really easy? You know, like just from starting to observe and understand these patterns so that I can start to, with simply being aware of them, start to naturally follow my body's signals that tells me, oh, wait a minute, like I'm not going to eat that brownie right now. And I think with most of the time, you were talking about the screen, and to give an example of eating and the, well, I don't know how that connects. Anyways, brownie, eat the brownie, and maybe sometimes it's cool, but maybe other times it isn't. And other times you might be feeling like, oh, 1 hour, 2 hours, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 12 hours later, oh, I feel really full. I get like a mega dip in my blood sugars, and I'm feeling, and it impacts me a lot. But then typically what we do then is that we try to distract ourselves. So then we take the next thing, or sometimes maybe if you're really full, then you have a little digestive. So that's like, you know, like these patterns is like distractions for letting ourselves experience the full feedback we're getting from the world with regards to eating. That could act, and that if we let ourselves fully experience that feedback over the full time period that it impacts us. Sometimes the morning after, you know, like I'm waking up full and I didn't sleep well, and if I let myself experience that and start to connect that back to my dinner, it becomes the easy, obvious choice, and suddenly it's natural not to have the brownie or whatever, right? And when we talk about attention and being present, I think it goes the same way. if I can start to let myself experience the full impact of not being present, that literally my son, he's walking away or he's crying and he's sad, and I've been distracting myself from it, you know? Like, oh, Martin, go on, do that again, you know?
Yeah.
Like, no way. No way. And if I can really let myself get present to that, oh, he is one of the most important people in my life.
Yeah.
And so I think that there's all of this distraction, and I mean, our whole, arguably, our whole systems is built on that, right? Like, it makes it more difficult. It puts up all these obstacles for us to be present. So I think, like, understanding those, taking those out of the way, is, I've experienced that works better than than kind of forcing it, if you will.
Yeah. So it's really about like recognizing the blind spots, either by yourself or getting help. And then it's that decision between like, am I going to numb myself and just repeat the cycle? Or am I going to sit in this discomfort and really feel it all? And then consciously make decisions that will make it easier for this blind spots to, or this pattern to change and to shift into something better. The thing with your son, like it touches something so deeply in me. And I shared the story of like how my parents started growing that business, and the reason why I do the things I do and the way I want to create this business is to, in the future, when I have kids of my own, like to really be able to be there, to be present. And the fact that you're sharing this story so openly, and I think almost everyone listening to this will have moments if they have kids that they think like, shit, this is so true. And then instead of feeling it all, they start to numb themselves and they keep on repeating a certain pattern. Recently, I had a conversation with someone in Dubai, also a successful CEO, and he had this breakthrough where it's like, okay, I'm working so hard, I'm building this company up, like it's super successful, and I do it all for my kids. And like he does it all for the family, yet the kids may just feel like, he says it's for us, but he's never actually here. He's never actually here for dinner. He's not here to like, when we wake up, like to just have breakfast together or whatever. It's all those small moments that really matter. For me, like this moment of realization of like, okay, we can be impactful leaders. We can build beautiful businesses, and we can be present parents. I haven't found the golden way. I haven't found all the answers. And there's the reason why I want to bring in this podcast. I want to hear from other people their truth about like parenting and entrepreneurship, how you bring it together, how you be more present, so you don't keep on repeating this whole pattern where you say like, yeah, I'm doing it all for my kids. Well, the kids just want to be able to play with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah, it's such a good observation, and it's confronting. And I think it really also, it points a lot to the systems that we're living in, and the sort of preconceived ideas about what success looks like, or what entrepreneurship is, or what does it mean to work. And one of the things that I recently have been thinking about is like, so what's up with this 5-day, 40-hour work week we came up with? Like, if you if you have kids, you'd be like, how do I spend time with my kids then? Like, I have breakfast with them and then I put them to bed? Like, is that why I became a parent? No. I don't think so, at least not in my case. And it's like the whole design of the system we've created around us just doesn't really support this. No. But then, and then kind of lots of other questions comes up, right? Like, because, okay, well, now I work 3.5 days per week. And the rest I use here in place, volunteering, using it in the land that I was sharing with you about before, where we're planting trees or something like this. I go and teach sometimes in my kids' school. And it's like, you know, that was really scary to set this whole thing up, but it feels so good. And it's I think sometimes if we kind of notice these moments of joy, what really matters to us? Is it really like kind of driving home with that new car or opening that new kind of parcel with whatever stuff we bought, or I don't know, or is it really those moments where we are as a family watching Formula One together, or having breakfast together, or whatever it is, right? Like what really matters. Yeah. And I'm not saying do one thing or the other, but it's like, how do we find the balance? And I think that's a really good question for all of us to sit with and understand.
I think you started it with like the question of like, why do we work those 5 days a week? Why do we have this 40-hour work week? Basically, I have to fact check this, but like if I remember correctly, it's basically Henry Ford that enabled this in the beginning. Like he needed, like once again, like fact checking, but like the idea was like, okay, we have this, basically a supply chain machine, and like they want to produce cars. We have people working there, but to enhance or to make their markets that they could sell to bigger, they wanted more and more people to actually like drive the cars. That means that the factory workers, like they were basically working 6 days a week. Why would they buy a car? Why would they like even have that? So by changing the system to a 5-day work week, then they would have like 1 day extra that they would also want to have like this car and to like buy into this whole society thing. And basically that's the whole reason why we have a 5-day work week. I'm going to fact check this again, but like this is a little bit like the story that I remember. But it started like, why don't we not question things like this more and more? I honestly, like I stepped away from this 40-hour work week quite a lot of years ago. I prefer to work on a Sunday morning, and that's totally fine. And for almost 10 years, like I do it as a coach, but like for me, a Tuesday is like that's the new Sunday, basically. I do practical stuff then, and like less people. Why don't we take those things in our own hands? There is those kind of ideas that we take for granted. It started with one person, and all of a sudden we all take it for granted, and we all take it for the truth, and we don't just try to like ask ourselves the question: Is this really what we're meant to be doing?
Yeah, I think that's such a good reflection, and finding out what it is for us, right? Like it's gonna be probably unique for everyone, and also in different stages of life as well, for sure. Yeah, before having kids and after having kids, that's a different game, right?
Yeah. So can you share a bit like what kind of stage you were in life as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, and then when your wife was pregnant and the baby came, like what were the things that you were dealing with at that moment? What were the things that made your life harder, and what were the things that made it easier to navigate it?
Right. So the question is about now, or it's about the moment when we got kids?
Like the moment you started a family, I guess like you were 9 years younger or 10 years younger at that time, like you're in a different state of life, like your businesses are at a different level, but how are you navigating it? Like how did you, and looking back, what would you do differently?
That was at the point I was working at Red Bull. And I didn't actually, we had talked about having children, but our relationship was still quite young, Alex and I. And we didn't know that we weren't trying. And then she got pregnant, and then she was pregnant. And then we're like, okay, cool, we're doing this. Let's go. I feel like I was not there at all for her at all. I had no idea what it meant for a woman to be pregnant. And I have so much respect for women being pregnant, literally like creating another human being. It blows my mind to think about. It's just so magical and crazy that can happen. It's just so crazy. Anyways, I was just like doing my thing. I was skiing at the point. I moved to Austria. I was super excited, skiing, rock climbing, and I was not there at all. So I definitely would have liked to have been much more there for my wife than I was. I was That's definitely one thing. I mean, it's easy to say now, kind of reflecting back, but just really being more this, like, authentic leadership, being not about me. I was like, me, I gotta prove myself. gotta go do all these fun things for me. And that was like, I think that's such an important time to be really we, or actually being more my wife, because she was definitely more important at that point, you know. So that's definitely one thing. I never said all these things loud. It's interesting.
Yeah, but I guess like navigating it all, like starting a family, like your professional life, combining it, trying to just manage it a little bit. And like nowadays, like you have a life where you work like 3.5 days a week. That's, I think for many people that still feels like a kind of luxury to be able to work towards that and like have that frame to be able to navigate from. But do you feel like there are tips that you can give people to reach that point? The things that you did to get to the point of like, okay, I can work 3.5 days a week. Other times I spend with my family or a volunteer, create new beautiful projects like your land.
I think it's just understanding what's in our way, you know, and taking those things out of our way. I think that's the most important. And most of the times it's like these ideas that we have to work in these things, work 5 days a week or whatever. And then also asking ourselves what's really important for us, you know. Because if the next car is more important for me, or if it's making more money that's more important for me, then definitely like, I should be working more. Right now, I'm like scaling back my whole life. Like I don't want more stuff. I want to earn less, because what that means is that I have more time.
Yeah.
And when I have more time, like I can spend it on the things that I enjoy spending my time on, which in the current way that the world is wired, that's not always the way you earn the most money. And also, like, why do we even anyways want the money in the first place? I think we just want to, I mean, I'm sitting a lot with the question of how do I want to grow old? Like, literally, I'm like trying to grow old now. And with who do I want to grow old? I think maybe we talked about this question in the past. I don't know. Yeah,
it's beautiful. And reflecting on that question, like what are like you minimize the amount of work, you're downsizing your whole life, also in a material way, I guess. And that all comes from that asking yourself that one question, like, who do I want to be in 10, 20, 30, 40, 100 years from now, basically?
Yeah, it's
if you live forever.
I think the really, what the question that really kind of pierced through over here with me was, with who do I want to grow old? Because I'm going to grow old. And it might be with random strangers around me in some random city somewhere, or maybe I chose the city, blah, 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 right? Or it might be somewhere where I have relations around me where, you know, like if you watch the Blue Zones, studied them, you would see like, oh, you can just see how happy they are, you know? And it's just deep, long, rooted relationships. So it's like, with who do I want to grow old was the question I was sitting with. Yeah. And then a couple of people came up, and a friend, Paolo, came up. And the next question that quickly comes up afterwards is, well, does Paolo want to grow old with me? And what if I move? Does Paolo move with me? Or what if Paolo moves? Do I move with him? I don't know. That's really hard questions to answer, right? Like, and could we sign a contract or commit to that? I don't know. But maybe the thing is to stop moving then. So maybe we don't need to answer any of those questions. So what we did was, the land we bought was next to Paolo, which is like this rural land, you know, and we're just going to restore nature on it and then create a little space where we can spend time in nature there. And with the intention of like, I actually I wanna grow old sitting in the corner and laughing and having a good time with Paolo. And in a way, I feel like Paolo is my guru, you know. In this, sometimes I'm reading this book about autobiography of a yogi who talks about the pursuit of the guru, and I don't know, maybe we have lots of gurus.
We do,
and and maybe because I know I have also a deep impact on Paulo. Maybe I'm Paulo's guru. Maybe we're each other's gurus. Maybe we're just having that kind of sort of like chemistry between each other. And this is like kind of, that's of course beyond obviously my family, who I'm very clear I'm going to grow old. I want to grow old with, right? But so now we're at the point where it's extending beyond core family into community, if you will. And so all of those questions I've been sitting with, and that's a lot of like, that feels so good. That's like just slowing down. Life starts to become about people.
Yeah.
It starts to become about a place also very quickly. Yeah. And then, so I can't, and it shifts my behavior from a behavior of consumption, consuming this place. I need to now have the most fun and most joy from this place into, how can I grow and nurture this place? Yeah. How can I grow and nurture my relationship? And that's just a different way to engage in life. And I think like if you listen to a lot of like, or if you explore like spiritual stuff, then also there's a lot about giving, and it's a lot about what can I offer to the world. And I feel like that's kind of where my sort of role with the world has been expanding into. So I'm just really, really excited about that.
Yeah, I can tell that you're really excited about it. And I think it's also one of the questions that I'm going to take home, like, who and where do I want to grow old? Like, with whom? What do I want to nurture? Where do I want to be in like 20, 30, 40 years from now? I'm really going to sit with them. Thank you so much for all those reflective questions that you ask yourself, for sharing those with us today. And thank you so much for your time. It was wonderful to see you again and to have this beautiful conversation together.
Likewise, Charlotte. Thank you so much for the invitation.
Thank you so much.